Landore Resources has released positive results from the recent drill campaign at its BAM Gold project in Canada. To talk us through the significance of today's shareholder update, I'm delighted to be joined by the Chief Executive, Alex Shaw. So, Alex, before we talk about the results, remind us about the purpose of this most recent drill campaign.
Oh, thanks, Sarah. It's always lovely to talk to you. We've had a, let's say, a quiet period at Landor. We had some successful soil sampling at the end of last year. Drill campaign was long overdue, and we had a lot of, let's say, questions that needed answering. So even though this was a fairly small campaign by previous standards, we wanted to focus and target these questions, which were really around extension of the mineralization along trend, and also down dip. I think that was a very clear objective, and I think that we resolved that.
So, were those results what you hoped they would be? What have they realized about the ore body?
Yeah, very much so. We've really shown that the mineralization, we've managed to extend it both east and west along strike. And that really shows that the BAM ore body still has significant potential in both directions. More, let's say, to the east than to the west, I'd say, because on the western side, we look like we're pinching out a little bit. We also shown that down dip, we've got a lot of mineralization to come. We had some really exciting results. So 10 grams a tonne, which it's pretty spectacular.
Okay, so I appreciate that these spectacular results are going to update the existing mineral resource estimate as you develop this gold project. But what are the next steps? As shareholders have been very patient, and I've interviewed so many different iterations with so many different directors.
Yeah, look, I think the Junior Lake project has huge potential. I mean, there are very few companies like us that have district scale, and I think that's really what it sets Landor apart from the pack. We're drilling out BAM, and I think we probably need another 10 to 15,000 meters of drilling at BAM to really fully define that ore body. What we interestingly finding is that the mineralization is not just limited to the metasedimentary package, but also to the gabbro, and that's great because it really gives us a lateral expansion. And then in addition to that, we really got a number of satellite deposits along strike, which is still untested drill targets, and I really see that as being a number of nodes which will all feed into a really a very significant resource.
All right. So this recent shareholder update made a point of highlighting the gold price. So at the most fundamental level, is this a bonus because it increases the value of the project now for a potential buyer who could then maybe take on all this drilling that's required?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, we're massively undervalued. I mean, we're trading somewhere around $7, $8 an ounce, which is almost unheard of. When gold's trading at north of, $3,000, and there's projections that it's only going to go one way. I mean, sadly, the world's, in a state of instability at the moment, and gold is really the refuge. We're incredibly cheap, and we've only just got started on our resource. We were at 1.5 million ounces, and I really see this going only one way.
Have you been talking to any potential buyers? I'm being cheeky, but I've got to ask.
Well, I have to say, at $3,300 an ounce, gold producers are making hay while the sun shines. That's for certain, and they're depleting their reserves. And there's only one way that majors and mid tiers and even junior developers are kind of, let's say, restocking, and that's by taking out small explorers like ourselves, with very exciting projects. Junior Lake is definitely fits that bill. It's in a great jurisdiction. It's got great infrastructure. I can only say how massively undervalued the project is at the moment, and what a great opportunity it is.
I admire your diplomacy, Alex. So finally, in terms of things to look out for, we've got the updated mineral resource estimate in the next quarter, and what else? Because you started this conversation saying, you hadn't, really been talking. The company been going through a quiet period. So are we going to see more communication? What else is going to happen?
Yeah, very much so. Look, we want to do a lot more drilling. That's for certain. What we're also planning on doing is doing more soil sampling and understanding the very exciting extension deal that we did earlier in the year. That's got great prospectivity along the structural trend. So we really want to prove up, let's say, first pass exploration that we have at least two more of these potential ore bodies within the system. So yeah, and then once we've proved it up with the soil geochemistry and the geophysics, then we'll start identifying drill targets and looking to really create a global resource for Junior Lake, which is, I'd say world class.
Many thanks, Alex Shaw, Chief Executive of Landore Resources. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah.